Thank you, and good morning. It's nice to be here today. I was looking around. Everybody's got some knives on the table. You won't need them. The economy is recovering. No need to have to spare with sharp objects. Unfortunately, the commercial sector will recover a little less quickly than the residential sector, but we are starting to recover. It's been a long, miserable haul. Still got a ways to go in some areas, but we're starting to get there. So I think this chart sort of summarizes everything, but before I say too much, there's always the question, well, what do you talk about? Well, in my case, about 20 minutes. But we want to go a little further than that. There's a couple of key points that I want to make. The economy is recovering. We've been through major liquidity, financial, and recession types of crises. Residential market is essentially flat right now, recovering a little bit, so we're not going down, recovering, be a little better next year. Actually, it's a lot better right now than it was earlier this year. Commercial, it lags, but it'll start to recover in about a year. Right now, we have some major problems. This chart says it all. You see the Generals up there, they got no little trouble. General Electric, General Motors, we had a recession. And we've gotten through that okay, I think, except for the fact that the price of oil went up and it drained the consumer. And when the consumer got drained, they cut way back, and then the recession got going real good. On top of that, we had a whole bunch of the others, Lehman, Merrill Lynch, Washington Mutual, the bunch, ran out of money. They were highly leveraged, and for whatever reason, the deleveraging started. They ran out of money, and unlike normal banks, which are members of the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, which are governed by the Federal Reserve System, they didn't have the right to go and draw on through the discount window. In other words, most of our banking system can go to the Fed when it needs liquidity and get money. They have to repay it later, but they can get money. In the case of Lehman, they were not governed by the Federal Reserve System, and they didn't have any right to go and get money, and they couldn't get any more money. They had $55 billion of liquidity, so they were in pretty good shape. But unfortunately, that was not good enough shape, and in that result, they went under. And when they went under, that was the turning point. To be specific, Lehman was the cornerstone of the commercial lending market. We looked to the commercial market when we financed businesses for short-term capital, when we discount notes, et cetera, and all of a sudden, there was a very major hole in the financing of financial instruments in this country, because Lehman made the market. Net result, a bunch of these other folks then got in trouble. And certainly you're familiar with what happened to Fannie and Freddie, AIG, Countrywide, all the folks, just a liquidity crisis. Now looking forward, I'm going to tell you where I think we're headed. But you've got to realize I'm an economist, so I can talk to you about the economy. But that's only 1/3 of the story. A second third of the story is the political system. What the administration does, what type of programs it has, how it acts, et cetera, has a major impact on the economy. So when I'm talking, I'm going to sort of be assuming they're going to keep doing about what they've been doing. Obviously, if they do something very different, then they can cause the economy to go significantly up or significantly down. The third major part of the economy is sitting right here in this room. That's us. We're all people. Economists say we act rationally. Well, sometimes we do. Mostly we act based upon however we feel, how we think other people are acting, or what we think, et cetera. And so we may act rationally, we may not. In other words, when prices go down, they may overshoot, simply because we're in the doom and gloom. And when prices go up, they may overshoot because we're still exceptionally ebullient. And so we have to take that into account when we talk about economics. So, how did we get here? Well, we spent too much money. We lent too much money in the residential and commercial markets. Net result, we got into a recession, employment went down, started to feed on itself. We all had 401ks, they're now 101ks, right? We don't feel so good about that. At the same time, housing prices went down. We don't feel so good about that. Net result of this recession, we lost about $13 trillion of wealth in our 401ks, in our houses, and other financial instruments. We lost about $13 trillion of wealth. The economy only produces about $14.5 trillion a year of GDP. So essentially, we lost almost a year of pay. No wonder until quite recently, no one wanted to say, well, let the good times roll, laissez les bon temps rouler. There was nothing to feel so good about because things were headed down. Because we had a highly leveraged economy with prime, subprime loans in trouble, credit cards in trouble, permissive financial behavior, liar loans, weakened financial institutions. The economy itself had some uncompetitive businesses that had problems, lots of uncertainties in automobiles, housing, manufacturing. The stock market sent us a message, and the message it sent us was, I don't feel so good. Then we all sat around the cyber cracker barrel, exchanging notes online as if we could ignore economics and just talk to each other over the internet. And that's good to talk over the internet, but sometimes it feeds on itself, and confidence is recovering, so we certainly managed to talk ourselves out of confidence for a while there, some of it probably correctly. Net and job gains, negative. Now this is real bad, and the negative job gains are going to, or negative jobs are going to continue through part of next year. They're going to turn positive at some point, but probably not for another 8 or 10 months. That's not good, as you know, for commercial, because commercial lives off of jobs, and it lives off of retail sales. And both of those are down, so we are temporarily down in commercial. We'll recover. Interest rates, though, are at historic lows. That's good. And so the government came through with a bunch of programs to help the economy. We had the TARP. We had where we gave the banks a bunch of money, lent it to them. We had a stimulus bill. That's been good. It's caused the economy to go up a little bit. The money has not been spent as quickly as one might like to see it spent. So the stimulus has not been as strong as one would have expected. We're getting about 3% growth right now. You would normally expect 7 or 8% growth as we come out of a recession. So we are in good shape in the sense that we're coming out of a recession. We would have expected to be in a little better shape. Good news on that is they'll spend the rest of the money next year, so it'll keep things moving. Wish they'd spent it this year, but there we are. TALF, putting some money into the commercial area. We have some home refinancing programs that have helped on the residential side. Again, one of the major problems of this residential market has been foreclosures. And of course, since the housing market drives